So for a while now, I've been debating whether I should upgrade my second computer, which was from leftover parts from past computers of mine. In this case, it was from an Acer computer with an i5 650 with 8 gigs of RAM. I happen to have some CPUs out of some systems we trashed, and they were i5 2400Ss, which unfortunately were kind of the lower clocked versions and had an APU, but were technically kind of better than my i5 650. And I knew that if I used those parts, I'd be kind of locked into some older parts. So I was kind of weary, but it was always an option. Also here, I had found a 2011 iMac in a dumpster, and out of that I got a CPU and a hard disk. But the CPU was the 2400S, so it's actually the very same CPU. And potentially I used that one because the one I had looked kind of different, like it didn't have sticky stuff on it or not. But I rated them all as basically the same thing. They had the same model number. So I've been looking at the internet for sale, and I was always looking around for an LGA1155 board to use those CPUs that wouldn't cost me very much. And I finally got exactly what I was looking for with this board for $25, and with memory for 16 gigs of 4x4 memories. They offered $50, and that was attractive. So assuming that all worked, that's a good deal. At least it's a good deal for the memory. So I made a deal where I'd give them $5 more, and I would take it as is, and it was delivered, and that was very helpful. One big problem is there's some scratches where I guess you'd put in cards, your add-in cards. I think they drag the part at the bottom of the card kind of on the back, and it made some scratches I hope didn't go into the traces. So as I got involved with this board, it became obvious that it wasn't quite what it was advertised as. It was advertised as a certain model number, but it was really out of some sort of Asus computer product, and because of that, the BIOS was kind of limited, and it's not clear which of the features are actually supported by this particular version of the motherboard. But they definitely have different BIOSes. So I wanted to avoid taking apart my second computer if it wasn't going to work. So I rigged up sort of like a heatsink solution out of an old GPU heatsink and just some fasteners, and that went reasonably well. At one point when I was doing memory testing, I might have pushed it a little too hard. It got too hot. Also, I stripped it down to minimum hardware just in case it was dangerous, so it just blow up one memory module. So in a lot of these systems, there are standard connectors for board headers to connect the case buttons. And in this case, you turn it on using the PWR-SW 2 pins there. And you can bridge those with any metal object. You just have to be careful not to hit anything else besides those 2 pins. So initially, nothing happened, and I thought, oh, well, yeah, that board is probably dead. But just looking for the obvious things, you probably want to try to clear your CMOS settings. And I investigated the CMOS jumper. It turned out the CMOS jumper was not present. So I got a jumper from my bag of parts, and I went to the clear, and then I went back to the normal position, and the board then did boot. I think that is the problem, because even here, you can see at the bottom there, it tells you that it won't boot unless you have the jumper in there. So I guess that's probably what the problem was. Okay, so spoilers. I have done this, and it has worked properly. And yeah, that light's a little freaking me out. That light would be on if I was plugged in, but I'm not plugged in, so that it's just kind of phosphorescent. But what happened here was there's a jumper that was missing. This is the clear CMOS jumper, and it wasn't there. So what I did was I installed when I cleared it, and then I put it back to normal. It wasn't booting originally. It wasn't doing anything. So maybe that's the problem I had, but point is that you see there's anything here shorting out. Also just put that, I just rigged up a little thing there for it to start up. It's a really lousy heatsink. So I'm plugging it in here, plugging it in. This is, be very careful, these two I believe. Yes, that would be your power switch if it was plugged in normally. Okay, so here we go here. Okay, 7, enter advanced mode. It's got like the world's crappiest bogus heatsink, but it's not doing bad. That's not bad. 120 Fahrenheit. If you got up to 70 Celsius, I'd be concerned, but it's 49, 50 Celsius. That's not bad. And I started testing memory out, I don't know, but I mean, that's it. I mean, basically it's working, right? So. Okay, well, I put a card in the PCI slot just to make sure that it recognizes it. I booted it off of a old CD, a DVD-ROM. So it looks like it's basically working. And I got the device I was looking for. There is the Connexent system decoder right there. That's the card I put in. So that would be where the graphic card is. But it's a 1X card, but it's a 16-inch slot. But that tells me a good amount of things are working. Check. It turns out that that memory was in fact good, and it was a major objective that that memory be good. I was very pleased when it didn't give me errors, at least with one pass. And it's faster memory. I don't know about the CAS, but it's actually faster than this particular Generation 2 CPU's memory controller can handle. So that's the way it is. So to the best of my knowledge, it's working properly and hasn't. I haven't seen it do anything strange. And I tested the gigabit Ethernet. You just saw the audio there being tested. I was kind of hoping for more BIOS controls, but hopefully it's setting up the memory the way that I would want it set up anyway. The parts did not include a fan for the CPU, but the 1156 and the 1155 are identical coolers, so I was able to transplant the cooler off the other board. That's why I wanted to know it was going to work before I did that. So a minor CPU improvement and a memory improvement from 8 to 16 gigabytes for $55. Thanks for watching.